YouTube. I am here in my kitchen. I'm propping you guys up on a coffee cup. So maybe one day I will get a tripod and do things a little bit better. But for now, I was starting some seeds indoors. You can see here I have one of my seed trays filled up with some soil. I usually like to just get some soil, put it in a bin like seed starting mix, put it in a bin, wet it, and then put it in here. So I am going to water these before I start some seeds because I didn't do the whole mess outdoors with putting all of my soil in a bin and wetting it prior. So but I thought I would jump on here real quick and share a couple things that I'm planting starting indoors now for my garden to transplant out in March or April here in North Texas. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about nasturtiums. If you have not grown nasturtiums before, this is something you definitely are going to want in your garden. People grow these as a trap crop for your garden. So basically a trap crop is basically a plant that you're gonna grow next to some of your vegetables or fruits. And for example, if I planted this next to squash, my hope would be that the squash would be more attracted to my nasturtium than they would be to the zucchini or whatever squash variety I have, and these would get eaten and not my vegetables. So that is one reason to grow nasturtiums. A second reason to grow nasturtiums is because the whole entire plant is edible. They are such a fun plant to grow, such a fun flower to grow. The plant tastes like a mild radish, and so if you like radishes, you'll like these. They're very pretty to put on a salad. You can see here, this is like the red jeweled variety. And then I have this one here. It has just a mix of different colors, and this one is a trailing variety. So when you're planting plants, you always want to pay attention to the names. So this is, I guess, a little bit sidebar, but sometimes when you're planting beans, if you're an experienced gardener, you know this. If you're not, you may not know this, and that's okay because I didn't know until I started gardening. So a pole variety, if you see the word pole, it means that it is going to trellis, which basically means you need to have some type of support for it. Otherwise, it's going to be a tangled mess on the ground. So you want to be able to grow it up like on a cattle panel or some type of trellis or cage, tomato cage, or whatever you want to use. And that is what this trailing variety I am going to actually grow in hanging baskets because I think it's going to look really beautiful. I also have green stalks, and so I love to add color to my green stalks. So I think I'm going to add this in with some of my snapdragons and some lemon balm, some different mints, and be able to just go pick from it and have something that's beautiful and I can use in salads and all the other fun things that you can use these for. A lot of times when people ask me for advice on gardening, it is all the different questions, right? Like how to plant it, where to plant it, all the different things. And I just want to let you know you are able to do this. Everything you need to know about a plant is on the back of the seed packet, or sometimes seed packets, I don't think this one, yep. If you open up your seed packet, I'll open up this one for you. It will also have a ton more information on the inside. So it will tell you how deep to plant it, all the different things. It'll tell you how to use it. This looks really bad. Let's see here. It tells you ideas for usage, recipes, how to fertilize it, how big the plant gets. So just know that you most likely have all the information you need on how to grow a plant just based on your seed packet. It has a ton of information. So if you're confused on where to start, read this. It'll tell you when to plant a plant, when to start it indoors versus outdoors. If it likes to be transplanted, some things are not going to like to be transplanted. So if it's not going to like to be transplanted, you want to plant it either directly in the ground, or you're going to want to use one of these biodegradable pots. These actually aren't my favorite to grow things in, but they're fine. I just like to grow them in just a plastic container type thing, but because the roots can kind of grow through this, which is the purpose of a biodegradable pot. But this is what I had, and it was cheap, so I bought these. And yeah, so things like, let me think about a couple things that don't like the roots disturbed. Tomatoes are fine. You can just pull those babies apart and they're very forgiving. Things like squashes or like cucumbers, things like that don't like their roots messed with. So you want to grow these in here or direct seed them outdoors. Okay, so I talked about trellising, a little bit about seed starting, and now I am going to show you if you are in a hot weather environment and you want to grow salad greens. So if you've done this in the past before, you've probably experienced bolting, which is when the plant goes to seed. So all flowers want to reproduce, or all plants want to reproduce. And so if it's really hot, things like lettuce and kale, broccoli, all your brassicas, those are going to go to seed early. And so if it's hot, you're not going to be able to eat them. I mean, you can try to eat them, but they're pretty bitter, and so you're not going to want to eat them. So last year I went ahead and I bought these spinach plants. They're called Malabar spinach. It is not a true spinach variety, but I think it's like an Asian heirloom variety or something. Yes, it's an Asian heirloom variety. So I don't know where they grow this, somewhere in Asia. And basically with these, you're going to grow them on a trellis because they're going to vine, they're going to trellis up, and you're going to harvest the leaves. And the leaves taste like spinach. I grew these last year. They're a little bit thicker than a spinach leaf, but they're really yummy, and they will not bolt because they love the heat. So if you are looking for something to add to your garden this summer, and that's gonna just be pretty all throughout the summer and not gonna get brown and yucky or bolt, I would encourage you to try this. This video is a little bit all over the place, but I'm just kind of looking at some of the seeds that I have out and I'm talking about them. So another thing when you're planting seeds is you can think outside of the box. So sometimes I think we all think of basil, we think of pesto, and that is a great use for basil. But there are so many different varieties of basil. There's lemon basil, there's cinnamon basil, there's purple basil, there's Thai basil. There's a bunch of different things. And so you can grow this for a variety of different uses. So right here I have a lemon basil, and I am planning on using this for some different teas. So I love that. I love basil tea. I got the idea originally from Roots and Refuge, and she got the idea from a friend, and I tried it last year and I loved it. So I do want to try some cinnamon basil too, because that sounds really yummy. So that is why I'm growing some of this. I'm growing like the regular basil variety for pesto, because I do like to grow that in bulk and make a bunch of pesto to make pizzas or pasta. Or I love sauces and dips, so I love to just have it on hand if I just want to like get some sourdough bread or something and then dip it in the pesto. Here is another basil. It's a purple basil, and I am growing this simply for the color that it's going to bring to the garden. So greens and reds and pinks and purples, they're just going to look beautiful. And I'm okay with this bolting and going to seed because it's just going to look really pretty. Another reason I'm going to use this is I'm going to use this as a filler for some of my cut flowers. So I'm going to use this as a cut flower foliage just to add to some of my bouquets. So it's one plant, and you can grow a bunch of different varieties of it and use it a bunch of different ways. So when you see something, I mean, you could just grow something just because it looks pretty, or you want to top a dish with it, or you just love the way it looks. And so just keep that in mind. Not everything that you use has to be for the original use that it was created for. Or you don't have to eat it if you don't like basil. You could just grow it to smell it, grow it for cut flowers, grow it for tea, and a bunch of other things. Oh, and another thing about basil, if you preserve basil, it really is best to just freeze it or something, because if you dry it, this is just my own experience, it loses a ton of the flavor. So I wouldn't necessarily grow this and just store a bunch of it for like to add to a dish. I don't know if you guys ever have bought basil from the store and added it to a dish and it doesn't give it like any flavor. So of course I'm gonna try, since I didn't last year, I'm gonna try to mix a bunch of my basils together, dry it, and see if it'll be good as a tea. But I'm not holding my breath, because every time I've dried it before, it's lost a lot of the flavors. So I do prefer to freeze this and just use it fresh when it's basil season. Right, if you guys like these videos, please like, subscribe, comment. I am up for any feedback or any questions that you have. I am not a professional gardener, but I've been gardening for a few years, so I have had a lot of wins and a lot of losses. But if you are gardening this season, I just want to encourage you to just dive in. Don't be nervous. Don't overthink it. Don't not plant something because it's not going to be perfect, because you can garden anywhere. People turn their lawns into gardens. People garden on their patios. You can get a bunch of containers. Just read the seed packet and go from there. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, leave a comment, or check out my Instagram at soul-acres. You can find me, you can find me on there and DM me, whatever works for you. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you would like to see more seed starting videos or different videos on some of my favorite varieties. So I hope you guys have a good day, and I hope you have a happy Valentine's Day. If I get this posted in time. Today is Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day. And don't forget to like and subscribe and all the other YouTube things I'm supposed to say. So have a good day.